Canucks fans. Jeez. Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of Canucks Conversation, brought to you by the great folks over at Bet365. Open an account with Bet365 today, and be sure to use code NATION when you sign up for an account, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Okay. Busy show today. We've got roster news. We've got family feud. It is a busy day. I made the mistake of thinking I could go to practice and have some lunch and be here on time. I walked in about 2 minutes ago. This might be the first show that I've ever worn my jacket, and that's simply because I was a little out of breath. Didn't have time to take off the jacket before we started. I literally just got here.
I also love that intro. We were off the rails within a few seconds. I wonder what it was. Turns out it was an ad from you trying to pull up the stream so you could check out the chat. But that was really funny. I think summed up the lead up to the show, which was just completely scrambly and out of sorts. And funny thing too is I'm in such a calm, relaxed mood today. Meanwhile, I can just sense the urgency and the rushing and the frantic mood you're in.
There's a lot going on. There's so much. A lot of it we're going to get to in Anyone Else. So this is going to be a big Anyone Else segment. Let's get to the news of the day, the roster moves. Let's pull it up. Jonathan Lekkerimäki, Max Sasson, and Cole McWard all recalled from the Abbotsford Canucks. Philip Hronek placed on LTIR. We broke down the cap math over at CanucksArmy.com, but you wanted to talk about this as well. You have a theory about the call-ups here.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is mostly just related to cap gymnastics, where by calling up Lekkerimäki and Cole McWard, and Puckpedia did a great job of breaking this down as well, it got them to within 8,000 of the cap ceiling, and then they were then able to put Hronek on LTIR after calling up Lekkerimäki and McWard. So the point being, they've created this optimal capture point, and that's why I think they called up Lekkerimäki and McWard. Right now, they have $6.3 million in LTIR space. Now, keep in mind, this isn't the same as, let's say, Dallas putting Sagan on LTIR and having X amount of cap space, where we know Hronek's going to be back in about 2 months, so they're going to have to activate him at some point. It's not you've got $6.3 million left for the rest of the season, and that means you can go out and get a $6 million defenseman. And in fact, despite them placing Hronek on LTIR, it doesn't even necessarily mean that they're going to use that space. It's just there as an in-case thing, because right now they're only about $500K over the cap, meaning all they need to do is send one player down, and despite being in LTIR, they'll keep accruing cap space because they'll be below the salary cap ceiling. So what I imagine they'll do is, it seems like based off practice that Demko is close to playing. I imagine they'll activate Demko from regular IR, send Shilov's down, and you're already accruing cap space. And I wouldn't be surprised if Shilov's isn't the only player sent down, especially on off days where they can accrue a little bit more space by sending down some of these other bodies. So I guess the overall point I'm trying to make is, I don't take this Lekkerimäki recall as a sign that all of a sudden he's playing and he's going to be in the lineup soon, or same thing with McWard. I think a lot of these recalls may have to do with cap gymnastics here.
Yeah, there's a lot here. I was at practice today. Archielov's not on the ice. His pads were in his stall, and Tocchet basically just saying that they wanted to have two goalies at practice. They wanted Demko to have his own net. Demko spoke after practice, and what he said was that he's very close to being able to have the conversation with Tocchet about being ready to go. So it was a good update from Demko. I took some video at practice today as we see him make this nice save off of, I don't know who it was. It might have been Pius Suter, which I think is the most impressive player to stop in a practice right now. But Demko sliding to his right to make a big save there in practice. So like I said, he looks ready. He said he has put his knee through hell. That was the quote that he gave a while ago, is that before he returns, he wants to really put his knee through the works. It's not I had a good day, I'm ready to go. Like, he's had a lot of good days now, and he's been trying to push it as hard as he can and see how much his knee can handle, and he's been pushing himself. So he says he's almost good to go. I think he said something about the next 3 games, over the next 3 games on the homestand. He thinks he'll be good, whether that's to back up or to start, and Tocchet had no update on Demko. So we expect that Artušilov is still going to be the backup against Columbus tomorrow. But also, like, it could be Thatcher Demko starting tomorrow. We never got an update saying no, that's not going to happen or anything like that. That's what we're kind of waiting for now, is when is Thatcher Demko going to make a return? It is soon. It is coming very, very soon.
What are you seeing at practice as far as his movements?
Looks normal. He's doing everything. He's doing everything. And again, I talked about that RVH. He's doing everything. There's no... Whereas before, when people are like, he's looking great, he's making all this progress, it's, yeah, but he's not doing things that you're going to do in a game. This was a full practice. This was side-to-side movements. Like, this was him dropping down. This was him doing the RVH. All of it. Like, he was, like, right there, right in the video, right there. And I know some people are on podcast and you're not going to be able to see it, but, like, he's doing the movements. Keep in mind, it's his left knee that's the bad one, and he's popping into the post with his left knee like it's nothing. So that's what you want to see. He says he's starting to put it through hell, whatever that means. No, he's working hard to get back, and it's not a matter of, okay, well, he's got this step to go. I don't think he has any steps to go. Like, when I watched him at practice today, he looks ready. And Chester Ming on Twitter there replying to me, be like, I don't know if he's ready because he has to be able to pop up. It's like, yeah, thanks, Chester. Like, I'm watching for that too. I like Chester Ming. It's all good. But anyways, he looks ready to me. Like, honestly, he looks like he's ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he started tomorrow. I'll say that.
It's really promising because when I look at this Canucks season, first of all, I think we all know that our expectations are pretty tempered as far as when Demko first returns, we're not immediately expecting him to play at a Vezina caliber level. But big picture, he's probably the biggest wild card for the Canucks outlook this season, because if he's on and can stay healthy, we're talking about adding a Vezina caliber goaltender. You add that to the mix and a top 4 defender at the deadline, all of a sudden we're talking about a bona fide Stanley Cup contender. Now, if he's not, meaning he either struggles over the remainder of the season, maybe gets hurt again, which none of us want to see, but if that happens, then all of a sudden this team's outlook as far as being actual cup contenders is more murky. So it's great news to see him getting really close to game action. We're not going to judge him too harshly based off how he looks in the first few weeks, but big picture, how he ends up looking over the next several months, closer to playoff action, that's when we'll get a really good gauge of what his potential return really means for this team as far as what type of damage they could potentially do in the postseason.
Okay, other update from practice. We had a report earlier today from Rick Dollywall over on Donnie and Dolly that JT Miller has been skating, and he's been skating with Jason Krogh, the Canucks skills coach. We asked talking about this because JT Miller wasn't at practice. I know some people were asking, and that was going to be a big indicator, was he skating at practice? No, he was not skating at practice, but Talkett did confirm that he has been skating. He says that they have a plan in place. So to me, Harm, and again, this is a guy that's ramping up to return. If he's on a leave of absence for another week or another month, he's not going to be, I don't think he would be skating, at least. That's the indication that I take from this, is that him skating, him having a plan with the team for his return, this isn't a guy that's, going to be away for another month, I don't think.
Yeah, really encouraging, really positive sign. I'm also just glad that the speculation and wild rumors can stop.
Yeah, totally. And we talked about it yesterday. The idea that he'd asked for a trade or that he wanted out of Vancouver. And I mean, we didn't even talk about it when that was happening. That's the thing. Like, and we had people in the chat asking, like, hey, do you guys want to talk about this? And we just ignored it. Like, we didn't even read those comments on air. We were just like, no, we're not going to talk about it. So we didn't. And I'm proud to say we didn't. JT Miller skating. Canucks have a plan. Roster moves, we got those. We're going to save the other stuff for anyone else. It's going to be a big anyone else today, folks. There's a lot to get to just around the league, different things to get to. I wanted to bring this up. The Canucks Convo bingo card. And we said yesterday we were like a quads bingo card was what was brought up in the chat. So people at the rink today were giving me a hard time. Like, oh, the Canucks Convo bingo card has nothing about Harmon on it. It's just about you. It's more like a quads bingo card, but it also has some stuff about you as well. So I think the best way to do this is go through each square. I'm going to go through each square on the bingo card. And people in the chat are already pointing out that I think we've already crossed 2 off.
Oh, I think Harmon got one like 3 seconds into the show. He got the off the rails already. I don't know where that one was on here, but it's somewhere.
It's there.
It's there, yeah.
I'm going to read them all. Quads refuses to take an L. Discussion of Quinn Hughes for Hart. The Wagon Flames are mentioned. Quads mentions one of his DIY projects. Why don't I have this written down? Love for White Spot. Quads mentions his wife. Shout out to the wife. The Leafs get, and she's my fiance. I'm just getting in the habit of saying wife. I explained this yesterday. But anyways, the Leafs get called frauds. Quads struggles with numbers. We're officially off the rails is said. You said that already. Quads and Harm match outfits. Not today. One of Quad's Family Feud answers gets 0 points. The free square in the middle. Quads takes a victory lap. Quads versus Jacob. Chris Faber mentioned. I sat with Chris at Skate today. He had a good kick out of that one. He scored 24 goals last year, is said. Deep cut Canucks lore. My guy from Quads or Harm. Family Feud choke job. Quads versus the chat. Mention of Rasmus Anderson to the Canucks. Quads comes up with a wild hypothetical. Quads vibes take. Pull that up, Jacob. Harm shuts down one of Quads' hot takes. That is so good. Honestly.
There was an extra one. Dear Sydney.
Dear Sydney. The Dear Sydney letter is mentioned. Dear Sydney. I feel like I can
Your
call
letter
you
for
Sydney.
Crosby.
Yes. Okay. This is fantastic. Shout out to RELC on Twitter who sent us this. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable job. I don't know if we'll ever get a show where we hit all of those in an order where you can win, but I hope people keep an eye on it. Jacob, that's going to be your new job. You keep that open and you keep track.
Pull that up, Jacob.
Pull that up, Jacob. Pull it up.
That is so much extra work for me. But we'll rely on the chat to help. We'll rely on the chat.
Okay. Let's get to Family Feud. Speaking of technical producer Jacob Lazar, let's get to Family Feud.
How are we gonna do this?
You got to leave the room. Get out.
All right. I'll just wait there, and you'll.
Yeah, wait there. Yeah.
Can I look through the glass, and then you? Can
No, go to the
motion me
hallway.
when
You'll be
you're done?
good. Hallway. If you hear Jacob.
Okay.
Go
All
further.
right. So
Keep walking until you can't hear.
Well,
Jacob.
I don't want to hear Jacob, so I'll just go.
Well, I don't
all the
think
way
you can hear him
into
from
the
that
glass.
hallway.
Don't worry. We'll be okay, Harm.
All right.
You'll be good.
See ya.
Okay.
I'm your man, Jacob Lazar, and it's time for another edition of Canucks Conversation Family Feud. Harm is now past me into the hallway. We've got a completely new look here because Quads is going first. The chat's been asking for weeks. Get Quads to go first. We've listened. Quads is ready for redemption. All right, so Quads, your rules are actually a little different this time because you're not going to hear a buzzer because you're going first.
Excellent. This is the advantage that I need.
Sorry, I just need to close the door here.
Nice
to
going,
the studio
Harm.
because Harm left it open.
And I must say, people in the chat already are saying like, "Oh, did Quads make the executive decision that he's going first after last week's sell job?" No, this was the chat. We asked the chat if I should go first, and they, Mike Cronelli in the chat said, "Look at the fear on Quad's face." I'm not gonna lie, I am sweating right through this jacket.
All
this
right.
This is the jacket. Fun fact about this jacket: I bought this, and Harmon's a big style guy, so I asked Harmon, "Hey, is this a good jacket to propose in?" Like, this was the jacket that I bought to propose in. I wasn't sweating on that day, but I'm sweating right now.
I'm sure Victoria is going to love to hear that. Anyways, let's get into it. You're going to have 25 seconds on the clock. Your time will begin when I finish reading the first question. And if you don't know an answer, just say pass. We'll come back to it at the end. Quads, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Which decade of Canucks hockey was the most disappointing?
This is a recent one, Jim Benning.
How many Canucks will score 15-plus goals this season?
6.
Name an all-time Canuck great that was not drafted by Vancouver.
JT Miller.
Name an NHL expansion team from 1967.
I don't know. Pass.
Which current Canuck is the least likely to be on the team next year?
Kevin Lankinen.
Well, I'll accept it. All right. So
That was tough. That was
you have
tough.
to pass. I'm going to go grab Harmon and
Go
then
grab
tally up
Harm.
the scores.
Robert, turn on your mic. Canucks Army social media guy Robert is here. Robert, what did you think of my performance?
Not great. I'll be totally honest. You had to skip the 1976 one. It took a long time.
What am I missing? What was the what?
Edmonton?
Wait. Harmon's back.
Oh,
It's okay.
okay. Great job, Quads. Excellent work.
Yeah. So how did that go, Jacob? I don't think that went well, Harm.
I still have to tally it up. I can tell you right now, not bad. You definitely got some points. I'm going to tally it up for you though.
We can't hear you, Jacob.
Oh, okay. How about now? Any better?
No.
Oh, that's weird.
I think what Jacob's trying to say is that I crushed it and that you have an easy path to victory. The chat
Smile
does think
tells
I
me
choked.
otherwise.
I did pass a question, so you won't get buzzed. That's the advantage that I'm giving you. You won't get buzzed on a question.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't great. Oh, the chat said they can hear Jacob. Jacob, what did we get? I can't hear you.
Yeah, so the chat can hear me. The speaker in there has stopped working. So I don't know why. Robert, if you could just come and open the door, I'll just have to speak really loudly. Sorry, so all of this technical stuff going on while I try and tally up your scores. Okay, we had there.
Michael Zhu in the chat. Not sure if that's how you pronounce your name. He said last answer shouldn't count. Get out of here.
How does it feel to go first?
Huh?
How does it feel to go first?
I liked it. I did like it more. But if I don't I'll tell you, if I don't clear 100 points, you're going first next week. I'm not gonna use it as an excuse. If I don't clear 100, if I don't give you like I'll personally be happy with like 90 points is cool. But if I don't get you 100, you're
all
going
right.
first.
We've got it figured out. Robert, I left Robert's mic on in there, which is why your speaker was muted. Quads, you got 115 points.
Let's go, baby.
It's good enough.
Up yours, chat.
Not quite 150, or 183, whatever it was I got last week.
Okay, that's like your best week ever. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
Okay.
And I will point out, we've gotten wins when you put up like 70 to 80 points.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
You've got this.
Yeah. All
right, Harm. I will read your rules. You'll have 30 seconds.
Hey, Jacob, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get in trouble if I flip off the camera or no?
What do you mean flip
Like
off
to
the
flip off the chat, middle finger.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
What?
They're all against me.
You refuse to even swear on this show and you want to flip the bird? Not going to happen. All right, Harmon, I'm going to read your rules. They're slightly different than what you're used to. You're going to have 30 seconds on the clock. If you give one of Quad's answers, you're going to hear the buzzer. And I will ask you to try again. And if you can't think of an answer, just say pass. We'll come back to it at the end. Are you ready, Harm?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Which decade of Canucks hockey was the most disappointing?
2010s.
Try again.
70s.
How many Canucks will score 15-plus goals this season?
6.
Try again.
5.
Name an all-time great Canuck that was not drafted by Vancouver.
Roberto Luongo.
Name an NHL team from the 1967 expansion.
Flyers.
Which current Canuck will be least likely to be on the team next season?
Nils Höglander.
Nailed it. Harm absolutely crushed it.
Those are so much better. Oh my. Those are objectively, like, I think I might have got every number 2 answer and you just got every number 1. I didn't, expansion question, I just blanked. I had nothing. Pass.
Well, I remembered, I don't know, the Flyers thing just kind of immediately stood out.
Okay.
If it wasn't Flyers, I wouldn't have known who else was
I didn't
part
get
of
an
that.
answer in on that one. Like, I passed and then ran out of time.
Mm.
Okay, Jacob, you're going to break down the math for us.
Yeah, okay, so first off, I just need to double check, make sure I heard you right. Harm, you said 70s. What was your answer to the 15-plus goals? Was it
5?
5? Yep, okay. And then you said
We definitely won.
Luongo on the third one?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. And
Who did I say on that one?
You said JT Miller.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And then
All-time great.
on your last question, least likely to be on the team next year, Harm, you said Höglander, correct?
That's so
All right.
good. Yeah.
You guys are back in the win
Let's
column.
go.
500.
Let's go.
So I'll go through here. The decade question, you guys got the number 1 answer with the 2010s. I get it, but also, like, you know, the 2000s were my pick just because that team had so much talent to never make it past the second round. 70s was the number 3 answer, Harm, so good pull there. 15-plus goals, the number 1 answer was 6. 5 was the number 3 answer. 7 was actually the number 2. And 16 people said 8-plus Canucks are going to score 15 or more goals this year. That's a lot, but hey, the way that things have been going, it's certainly possible. An all-time great Canuck not drafted by Vancouver. Marcus Naslund, the number 1 answer, but Luongo, a very close number 2. That was 35 to 33 points. JT Miller was the number 4 answer. Quads, you got 7 points there. Burrows was the number 3. Obviously, first NHL team was Vancouver, but he was undrafted. Expansion from 1967. Harm, you got the number 3 answer with the Flyers. Quads did not know. So the 6 expansion teams from that year were the LA Kings, Pittsburgh Penguins, Philadelphia Flyers, St. Louis Blues, Oakland/California Seals, and the Minnesota North Stars. Now you know. Lastly, which current Canuck is the least likely to be on the team next year? Nils Höglander was the number 1 answer. Nice. Kevin Lankinen was the number 2 answer.
I told you.
So you guys
what
got
did you say?
220.
Lankinen. I got
You guys got
That's still pretty
227. So anyone saying that Quad's last response shouldn't count because it was right after the buzzer, they still would have won with 201 had Lankinen not counted. Good job,
Well,
guys.
on the actual show, you go watch the actual show. They do let you if the buzzer, they let you. They let you. They just don't start the question after the buzzer. Play my music. Where's
within
my
reason.
Where's my music?
I don't really have the win music anymore. It's been so long that
Wow.
I just don't have it saved in our streaming setup anymore.
I mean, we did go from 5-1 to 5-6.
Yes. I do think we found the secret sauce, though. Like, I think you did really well going second. You got hit with a buzzer, and you answered right away, too.
Maybe, but
I
also...
I think it's also worth mentioning, you might just be better than me at this.
Maybe, but also I've had times... This was probably just one where, like, I don't know, sometimes you've had some feuds where it's just like, you're on, and then some where it's just like, you're off. Like, I bet you...
Well,
I
it's
feel
been
like
about
I can
6
beginner's
weeks
luck
since
on
we
the
did
second one.
Okay, I think next week I go first again, though.
Yeah.
Harm,
trying
give
it.
yourself some credit. Like, when you heard that buzzer, you were quick with
Yeah.
the next answer. That's how you do it when you go second. You have to
It's
be
hard,
quick.
though. That's gonna be
You
daunting.
did really well. You did really well, and I'm happy to say it. All right. New Family Feud survey is in the description, whether you're listening on podcast, whether you're listening on YouTube or wherever you're watching us. Jacob's got it in the description. Go fill out the next Family Feud survey. Someone DM'd me and said, I put my written question. They were like, name a month with 30 days in it. Someone DM'd me and said that might be a question next week. So I'm ready to go. And if it's 31, I'm screwed. Or yeah, anyways. That was a lot of fun. That was good. Paul Papadoulis, rare quads humility. That's something that's not on the bingo card. You did great, buddy. You did great. Let's get to anyone else, which is proudly presented by our friends over at Greta, a great spot for all games, home and away. We were there for the first viewing party of the season. We'll be there for the rest of them throughout the year. But even if we're not there, you absolutely should be. Just minutes from the arena, come by before and after the game, or whatever event you're downtown for, with arcade games, weekly drink specials, and the recently updated street food menu. Greta Bar YVR is the place to be. 50 West Cordova Street is the address. Let the games begin. I'm not gonna lie, I could run through a wall right now. Also, Jacob, you got to open up the permissions for the survey. I think.
So I noticed there's something weird. Google Drive has kind of changed how the survey works, so I'm just gonna have to go in and play around with it. So if you're listening, give it a few more minutes, and I'll have it all figured out.
You're gonna get like 100 emails from people requesting access.
Yes,
to the
please
survey.
do not request it. Let me figure it out before you start requesting, or I'm going to get a million emails. Here we go. Yeah, this is so weird. They've changed how these things work, so I'm gonna have to figure this one out. But here we go. Responder view. Anyone? There we go. It's available now. If you guys just refresh your surveys.
Everybody request access if you still can. Okay. Thank you, Jacob, for taking care of that. All right. Actually, some good questions in already in anyone else. So let's get as many as possible. Let's talk about everything that we can. Did you see this segment with Brad Marchand and Paul Bissonnette last night?
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. You got Paul Bissonnette dressing up like, what do you call himself? Porge Jaros or something? Like, it was so good. It was so good. Even, to that little guy's credit, Brad Marchand playing along, that was fantastic, the way he played along. Even the part where he came back after the game and did the post game, did you see that one where they were talking about the power play and everything?
No, I don't think I
Oh,
caught
no, that was before when he was talking about the power play. When Biz said, like, he came at him about the power play. So good. It was so good. I did not tell Jacob that I want to talk about that, so we probably don't have it, but we might get it by the end of the show. As I like to say, pull that up, Jacob. At some point, we'll get that. We'll get to that. I wanted to bring that up for sure. The Wagon Flames. Do you want to talk about them? I did want to have a quick chat.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Fraudulent.
Fraudulent. Is that really appropriate, Harm?
Very appropriate.
Why?
Because they're frauds.
Didn't they just win?
Yeah, but they are also not very good.
Says who?
Says they're -5 goal differential.
Who was the player that it was brought
Says
up
the
years
fact
ago?
that their leading scorer is on pace for 50 points.
By committee, baby. That's what we do. Sea of Red. Who was the player that their team made the playoffs with a negative goal differential they got asked about, and they said, that's why analytics aren't everything. Who was it that said that?
I don't
was
know.
it Tyler Sagan? Robert, Jacob, is this ringing a bell for anybody? I think it was Tyler Sagan.
Speaking on something similar to that, I don't know if you saw this, Jay Fresh yesterday.
Oh, yes, with Joel Farabee.
Yeah, for people that don't know, Jay Fresh tweeted out the one pick for Team Canada that actually does kind of confuse me is Sanheim. He's a good player, and he's having a good year, playing a lot of minutes, but I wouldn't consider him an amazing defender. He's not that physical, on and on. And then Joe Farabee quote tweets, of course, teammates with Travis Sanheim, and goes, "Watch a game." And it went viral. Over 1 million views.
Yes, that was very good. That was very good. Were you surprised by the Sanheim pick? Like, did Team Canada overthink what they were doing when they built this roster?
No, because a couple of weeks ago, CJ and I, Chris Johnston and I, were doing a piece on stock up and stock down as far as like who might end up making the Four Nations roster. Mm-hmm. And we had Sanheim on stock up, and the feeling that we were kind of getting was that, especially because of his PK ability, that Team Canada sort of covets him. And not to mention, this guy, he eats like 25 or 26 minutes a night. Again, the Flyers PK has been top 5 2 years in a row. Plus, he's still chipped in with 15 points in 25 games. The left side isn't that strong anyway for Team Canada. I don't think that they were galaxy braining that decision. He's been really, really good this year.
Future Canuck or no?
And last year.
Future Canuck? You've talked about him before. Like, I know you like Travis Sanheim. Future Canuck, yes or no?
I don't see Philly trading him. He's their number 1 defenseman. It's also interesting because before his bounce back last season, the Flyers were trying to trade his contract.
Oh, man. He's signed until, I didn't realize this, he signed until the 30-31 season at 6.25. Yeah. They're not trading him. He probably has trade protection, too, with a contract like that.
But it's just funny because, again, before his bounce back last season, that was people were looking at that as a bad contract. And just last season, he flipped a switch and completely turned his game around and has continued that positive trajectory this year. And again, I think most of it just comes down to the PK impact. You don't need 5 or 6 defensemen on. Like, I saw a lot of Oilers fans complaining about Evan Bouchard. You got Cale Makar running the power play. Why? What do you need Evan Bouchard for? He's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. He can move the puck, but defensively, you don't trust him. Like, what's his role on that Canadian team as opposed to Sanheim? You can at least look at him and go, he's going to be a PK ace for them.
That's very true. You know what? I will say, I did see some Oilers fans upset about Bouchard snub. But I also saw some that were pointing out basically what you just pointed out. Like, well, you have Cale Makar. Like, if the Oilers had Cale Makar, they wouldn't even need Evan Bouchard if they had Cale Makar, right? So, I will say, yeah, I did see probably Oilers Nation readers, because they're the smartest folk out there. I did see some Oilers fans pointing that out, that they're like, okay, like, it's not a slight against Bouchard that he sucks or whatever. Although there were other fan bases being like, Evan Bouchard's not even the 10th best defenseman.
Well, okay, the one that I really didn't understand, because at least Bouchard was exceptional last season, especially in the playoffs. The one I truly didn't understand were some, like, I saw some Twitter conversations around Stuart Skinner got snubbed and he took them to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final last year. It's like
they got there in spite of him.
Well, not only that, but if there's one goaltender who got snubbed in all this, it was Logan Thompson.
Yes, yeah.
Who's been the best Canadian goaltender in the NHL this season, not the guy who's got an .886 save percentage.
I don't remember who put it out. It might have been TSN. I don't know who it was. Everybody's making their snubs list. I think we have one over at dailyfaceoff.com. That's the only one you should be reading. But I did see a snubs list that didn't even have Stuart Skinner. Like, Stuart Skinner couldn't even make the snubs team. There was 3 goalies ahead of him there.
Rightfully, he shouldn't.
Leo Jang in the chat said, I take Dobson over Bouchard. Noah Dobson. Any surprise there? I mean, I agree. I do take Noah Dobson over Evan Bouchard, but any surprise there that Noah Dobson wasn't picked for this team?
Maybe a little bit surprised. But again, I understand the Parayko pick. Dobson is also more of an offensive guy. He has improved his defensive game over the last couple of seasons, but he's still a player that he doesn't make as many egregious mistakes as Bouchard, but he is definitely an offensive defenseman first and foremost. And again, when you look at that third pair for Team Canada, you already got an offensive puck mover in Josh Morrissey. I'm sure that they were just sort of looking at role-wise who's going to be the best fit, and I understand the Parayko pick.
Parayko, I mean, we talked about that yesterday. Parayko made sense. Like, as much as people...
Yeah.
And look, even the people that are like pulling up his JFresh card, his defending on that card is spectacular, and that's what Colton Parayko is. He's not gonna score goals. That's not why they have him. That's not why they have him on that team. We did our Four Nations preview yesterday, folks. If you want more Four Nations chatter, go to yesterday's show.
And I'm not just trying to like appeal to authority that Team Canada got it perfect in selecting the roster. I just looked at Sam Bennett probably would have preferred Mark Scheifele or Robert Thomas there, and Logan Thompson he should have been one of the three goaltenders. But on the blue line, I didn't really have any issues with what they did.
I like Robert Thomas more. Never done a Hyundai commercial that really annoyed me. You remember those Mark Scheifele commercials?
Yeah.
So he's
So is Connor Bedard not on your?
Well, those are good Hyundai commercials. Those are much better. I like those a lot more. Those are funny.
They're all right.
What was the
like?
Well, I don't want to start
I'm at
slagging
practice.
potential sponsors here, but just I will say I like the Bedard one more. Anyways, Chris Tanev should be on the roster. Michelle in the chat saying that. Chris Tanev, Colton Parayko.
Same role.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to this one. Did you see this suspension in the OHL? Michael Misa in the OHL. Can you pull up this video, Jacob? You ever been to a teddy bear toss night?
Nope.
Okay, you need to go to one. He threw the teddy bear. You know the concept, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those that don't know, home team scores the first goal of the game. Fans throw teddy bears over the glass. They all get scooped up and donated to like a local children's hospital, or they go to a good cause, all the teddy bears, right? So I've only been to the Coquitlam Express one, and I'm hoping to go this year. It's on December 14th. Go support the Express. Go support your local junior team. I know we have a lot of listeners in like Kelowna, wherever. Go support your local junior team. The teddy bear toss is so much fun. It is so awesome. And there's always that thought of, oh no, are we going to get shut out? Because if you get shut out, I think the protocol is home team just throws their bears, the fans throw their bears over the glass after the game, after the team's like vacated this, which is pretty embarrassing. You don't want to get shut out on your teddy bear toss night. But I love the teddy bear toss nights. Junior hockey, they don't do it at the NHL level, obviously. But Michael Misa, suspended for throwing something back over the glass. You can't do that.
That's funny. That's got to be. Imagine that story. Telling his like kids one day. Oh yeah, I got suspended once. What was it for? Oh, threw a teddy bear back into the stands.
Now I don't know if he was the home team on that though.
No, he was they were the visitors.
Yeah,
I think.
I get
so
that.
was he pissed off?
Yeah,
about
and he was just going around. Like I'll play the video again, but it looked like he was just trying to shoot the bears back over the glass because he was probably pissed off.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't like that. Good thing he got suspended. Okay. Let's see. We've got more in the chat here. This is some other news I wanted to get to. Paul Papadoulis bringing this one up. Did you see Tij Ginla got hip surgery and is out for the rest of his Kelowna season? Is it Tej? It's Tij Ginla. Hip surgery, out for the rest of his season with the Rockets. I just brought up Kelowna. That's a huge blow. Like for Utah, especially, just to have a prospect go out. Hip surgery is never good, especially at that age. Hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it.
Also, maybe explains why he wasn't invited for the World Junior selection camp.
Yeah. It sucks. It sucks for a young player like that to go through that. That is just absolutely awful. Absolutely awful to see. This one from Conversation as we kind of transition to the Canucks here. With PP1 performing better lately, any merit in the idea of putting Miller on PP2 and letting him run his own unit? I've thought about this. We've talked about this. I don't even want to say we've disagreed. We've had different takeaways from what we've seen from the power play so far without JT Miller. What we do know is that they have been scoring. They have been clicking quite well. Like we said earlier, folks, if you missed it, I was at practice today. JT Miller didn't skate at practice, but we did get the update from Rick Tocchet that JT Miller is skating and that they have a plan in place. So to me, and again, not to speculate too much, obviously, but to me, that tells me this guy's going to be back relatively soon. So I think it's appropriate to start having conversations like this about, okay, well, what do you do with the power play when he comes back? My take, Harm, you put him back on power play 1, but you stress to everybody on that unit, like, hey, you know what? The power play's been running through more Hughes and Pettersson more than it has Hughes and Miller, which is what it usually is. And they'll bump the puck to PD every once in a while, but it's found a lot of success with Pettersson being kind of the first passing option for Quinn Hughes. And I don't know if you have to say, okay, that's what we're going to do. It might just be a gentle reminder of like, hey, you know what? Like, let's try to get some different looks. Let's get some pucks on net like we have been since Miller's been down. Let's get pucks through traffic. Let's see what we can do. Maybe just like a gentle reminder that, hey, don't forget to use this side of the ice too.
Yeah, and from a process standpoint, I'll also say this. I think that that game against Minnesota, the way that they were snapping the puck, controlling it, that's the most dangerous I think that unit has looked.
The zone entries too.
Yeah, especially everything sort of like running through Pettersson as a playmaker. He looked dynamic. He looked dangerous. They were threatening even beyond the goal that they scored, and that's what I was looking for, right? Is like they got 7 or 8 shots on goal, and that's what I was telling you was early on they were getting the results, but statistically they still weren't getting a lot of shots. And so I was looking at it and going, well, if this success on the power play without Miller is going to last, they're going to need the process to actually improve to continue getting quality looks. And I think that game against Minnesota was okay. Wow, they're actually looking legit threatening now too. It isn't just that they're scoring, and that's a really promising sign. I'll be honest, and maybe you're surprised to hear this, but I wouldn't even be opposed to the idea of the same way that when Besser returned to the lineup, we were saying don't take Kiefer Sherwood off Pettersson's line for the interim and move Besser up there at the first sign of, okay, this isn't really working. I wouldn't be opposed to if PP1 looks the way it did against Minnesota last night, I wouldn't touch it, and I would take an approach where, okay, start Miller on PP2. I wouldn't be opposed to it. And then it's okay, first power play of the game, let's see how it goes. Second power play. If PP1 at the first sign of weakness, then you go, all right, let's bump JT back up. But I almost wouldn't be opposed to the idea of him starting on PP2 just for a little bit to see how long this PP1 success can last. And again, it's not with the idea of, oh, JT's going to be on PP1 or PP2 for 10, 15, 20 games. At some point, there's going to be a sign of weakness, the same way there was with Sherwood on Pettersson's line. It's just maybe don't go to it right away when you got something that's working really well right now.
I am actually surprised to hear you say that. You're right. I am surprised to hear you say that, but I agree with you to some extent as well. You're also making power play 2 much more dangerous. You're making it a legitimate threat. And again, we know how much JT Miller likes to run his own power play. He'd be working with Eric Brandstrom, you'd assume, on that power play. I don't hate that idea. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer here. The thing I would stress is if Miller's going to be on PP1, which, like, let's be honest, I think it's pretty safe to assume that Talkett's going to put him back on
Probably
PP1,
will be, yeah.
right? But I think if that happens, what I said is what you need to kind of stress to everybody is just, hey, like, let's use all of the ice, let's use all of our weapons, let's use all of our options when we're out there. Quickly on the Canucks power play, up to 11th in the league with a 23.3% success rate. The most surprising thing for me, Chicago and Pittsburgh right behind them. Did you know this? Chicago and Pittsburgh behind them.
Didn't realize.
On power play percentage. I was going to point out that the Wild's PK was absolutely dreadful. It has been all season long, but I don't know how bad it's been. Yeah, okay. So they are bottom 10. They have the 7th worst penalty kill rating on the season so far. I don't think it's that bad that we can't read into what we saw against the Wild when the Canucks had the power plays and say, like, it was really good what they were doing, because, hey, like, the Canucks power play has made bad penalty kills look great before. So I don't take anything away from them for that reason. I really liked what I saw from the Canucks power play in that game, even if the Wild don't have the best penalty kill in the league. Okay, let's see what else we have. Arvin Ojala in the chat said, who do you think will be Petey's other winger? Again, there's going to be some lineup decisions to come pretty soon here. Do you have any hard takes on that right now?
I'll be honest, I hadn't really thought about that yet.
Because and the insinuation here, obviously,
Brock and
is
JT
is
go together,
with
yeah.
JT on the horizon. It seems that JT and Brock are obviously going to go back together. So who's going to go up to that wing? Is it going to be Connor Garland again? Like, that's my big question. I will say this, Harm. I don't think that the Dakota Joshua, Pius Suter, Connor Garland trio has done enough to make me say, like, well, you can't split them up. Namely Dakota Joshua, who's still working his way back, and that's not a slight on him. It's just that he still hasn't found his A game. I think he's shown some signs of it, even if the numbers necessarily haven't been there. But I don't think it could harm Dakota Joshua by putting him in, like, the 3rd or 4th line just to be able to go get some minutes, get your feet under you a little more, start to find your game. Like, I don't think you need to keep that trio together the way that you maybe did last year when we were seeing Joshua, and I should say duo, the Joshua-Garland duo. You don't need to keep that together. So my take is Garland goes back up, because I also think Garland has been not ineffective, but his best minutes this year have come with Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of bumping Garland up. And it's interesting because over the last 15 games, Garland has been around a point per game, but you look at his 5-on-5 numbers, his even strength impact hasn't been as dominant, and I don't think that's just on him. It's more a product of, hey, with this new line, they've been playing well, but they haven't been dominating to the extent that the third line was last year. So yeah, I would be on board with him bumping up and playing with Pettersson if Besser and JT reunite.
This one also from Arvin Ajla, who always wants the show to go longer. He said, Besser, Miller, Suter was one of the best lines in the playoffs last year. Excited to have that top line paired with PD and DeBrusk. I didn't even think of that when it came to this third line.
That's a good point.
That might be the guy that goes up. It's not going to be Nils Höglander. There's someone in the chat, I was almost convinced it was your burner account, saying Höglander's going back to the wing with PD. That's not happening. Höglander's not moving up to the top 6. He moved up to the third line, and we were just talking recently about how many mistakes he made, and Tocchet kept playing him, which, hey, credit to Rick Tocchet for just keep putting him out there, and everybody's getting to see what kind of player Nils Höglander is playing as right now. But that idea of Suter going back to the wing, I didn't even think of that. But now that that's brought up in the chat, nice contribution by Arvin there. Yeah, Suter back.
We've
to
got
the wing.
options. I would want to take some time to really map out the ideal sort of top 9, maybe.
What's Denton Heinen done for you lately?
Not enough.
Saw some Denton Heinen hate on the timeline recently.
Yeah, he's been quiet lately. I think he had a stretch where when he was playing on, like when Heinen, Bluger, and Sherwood were aligned initially, that's when I was like, okay, Danton Heinen is playing really well, but he's struggled lately. I think I think he's got 6 points in his last 15 games, but 4 of those are secondary assists.
Mm-hmm.
So not chipping in with a ton of offense. In the Detroit game, he first had the failed clearance that led to the DeBrincat power play goal, then overskated the puck, was unable to clear, leading to the Rasmussen power play goal. So he's been fighting it lately.
Heinen doesn't have a point since November 17th against Nashville when he had 2 assists. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games without a point for Danton Heinen.
Although in fairness, I will say he's playing on the fourth line with like sort of babysitting Abbotsford guys, essentially, right?
Yes, but he has been getting some shots. He's had, 6 shots in the last 4 games, so not a ton, but yeah, you're right. He's been kind of stuck with some call-ups on the fourth line and has not been able to really chip in anything of note on offense.
Okay, I just sent you something, Jacob. I'm not sure if we can play this, but Jacob Middleton, did you see this post-game, what he said? Oh, is this on air?
No, it was not on air, but I'm going to try and get it. We'll see what I can do.
Because it's really good. Jacob, pull that up. Did you see this or no?
Was this him talking about how it was like a feisty kind of back and forth game, how fun it was to play in, that type of thing?
Yeah. Quote
I saw
machine.
that.
Quote machine. I did not know he was Mr. Irrelevant. Did you know this? He was Mr. Irrelevant in draft. Like, he was the last pick of the draft. I believe.
Damn.
So 2014 draft, round 7, pick 210. He forges himself an NHL career. I love it. And again, the quote, I'm not sure if we can get it. I apologize for putting Jacob on the spot. I'll see if I can find a written version of it. But post-game, like, the vibes were off the charts with this guy. Add him to the Quads trade targets list. 6'3", little undersized.
They're not going to move him.
Because he's 6'3".
I think I've got it here.
Yeah, let's see it.
Hopefully it works. We will see. We should also mention that it was posted by Bleacher Report Open Ice, so we'll credit them on that.
Like watching that overtime.
Yeah, so much fun. Gus was unbelievable. Kirill stayed out there for 2 minutes. Brock had a 2-minute shift, too. Everyone played unbelievable. Kirill, top titty 2x4 to end the game. That was nice.
Why is this team able to win hockey games so many different ways?
Stick together, dude. That's what you saw tonight. They want to go after our big dogs. We'll go after theirs, and we'll play longer than they do.
And this crowd, it did not feel like a weeknight. This felt like a weekend party. How much do you guys feed off the big crowd here in St. Paul every night?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Every night is Saturday when you're having fun in a place like this, right?
It sure is. It's also big fun when you win. Jake, congratulations on a goal and a big W for the Minnesota Wild.
Thanks, Gorgie. Take care.
Okay, that's not what I saw.
What did you see?
Originally? It was not that. I think I saw the post game quotes when he was.
What line in
the scrum.
particular did surprised you there?
No comment.
It's so good. It's so good. It's a perfect vibes interview. Love to see it. I will also say this. I'm not sure if I can turn it into a story, but I chatted with Jake DeBrusk today. The Canucks Spotify top songs came out yesterday. Jake's was All-Star by Smash Mouth, the song from Shrek. You know that song, right?
I don't know it.
What? You don't know All-Star? Hey, now you're an All-Star.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Jeez, that
didn't
actually
know the name.
flabbergasted me. Okay, All-Star. It's called All-Star.
All right.
Okay, so I was talking with Jake about it, and he just like he really likes the song. He's like, yeah, I had to come up with a song, and that one is one of my most liked and most played on Spotify, and he absolutely loved it. He loves All-Star by Smash Mouth. Also, I don't know if I can turn this into a story. Big Shrek guy. He likes Shrek a lot. We were talking about what a phenomenal film franchise that is. That's cinema, baby.
Hard-hitting reporting that everybody's looking for quads. I love it.
He also hoped to get Taylor Swift tickets, but he said this. We had a good laugh about this. I was like, you going to Taylor Swift across the street? Because I asked if he's a Swiftie. He said, yeah, like I've gone to her. He went to her concert. She did like Gillette Stadium. So he's like, when I was in Boston, I had hookups. He's like, I don't have any hookups here yet. So like, I don't know where to go get tickets. And I was like, well, you're here for 7 years, so you'll get your hookups. And he's looking forward to the day when he can get himself some Taylor Swift tickets. So some insider information. I'm not sure if I can turn that into a story, but I could at least mention it on Canucks Convo. Jake DeBrusk, certified good dude. Speaking of good dudes, certified good dudes taking on the St. Louis Blues tonight, Harm. Let's get to our Bet365 bet of the day. Brought to you by, you guessed it, Bet365. They're the favorites. And why wouldn't they be? The Calgary Flames are on a win streak. Or is it just one win, Robert? One win. They're looking to make it a win streak. Minus 130 odds. You can get the Flames to take down them St. Louis Blues tonight. We are going with that one as our pick of the day. Flames money line. That was our bet of the day, brought to you by Bet365, a proud partner of Canucks Conversation. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Be sure to use code NATION when you sign up for an account. Must be 19 plus to play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly. Final thoughts, Harm.
1 game win streak. I love it.
1 game win streak. We are going streaking, baby. We'll be back tomorrow, folks. We'll be back to preview tomorrow's game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Note that it's the Blue Jackets' only visit to Rogers Arena this year. We will close it out there. For my co-host Harmon Dallin, tech producer Jacob Lazar, and our social media guy Robert. My name is Dave Quadrelli. Thanks so much for this episode of Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.